not been active the way it used to be, but it's good. That's what we are praying for. Okay. So let's try to understand what product backlog is all about. So we stopped at business case. So by now, all of us should have a good knowledge and understanding of business case. Like I said in last, just to recap what we said in the last workshop, we said that business case is a document to justify the reason why we should implement a solution, why we should implement a software, why we should go into this project. So it's a justification, making recommendation. This is the reason why we should, making sure that the project is viable and recommending the solution options for the stakeholders to make a choice. And once we draft this business case, we have to hand it over to the client or the project sponsor for approval, depending on the line, the work hierarchy, or the senior business analyst. But the main thing is to get a justification for the business. And if eventually the business case is approved, then the next thing is to start implementing the solution. And implementing the solution will take us, we're looking at this from the point of view of a business analyst. So if the project manager is coming in picture, once the business case is being approved, then the project manager should work on getting a project charter. A project charter will, give the project manager authorization to kickstart and start managing the project using resources, spending money on the project. So, but in the line of business analysts, once the business case is approved, the business analyst will jump in to start what we call solution design. You have to start designing the solution that you have been recommended through the business case that is that has been approved. So you have to start designing the solution. It can be a fresh implementation, or it can be developing a solution from the scratch, or using a SaaS enterprise. Whichever way, whether you are developing from the scratch, whether you are buying from a vendor like a Microsoft and others, you still need to design the solution, because most of the solution we are buying from the vendors like Microsoft, we are talking about Dynamics, we are talking about SAP, all these solutions are what we call white label. White label is that you have to customize it to suit your need. And you, the business analyst, looking at the business requirements, the need of the stakeholder. So if you are buying an enterprise application, Then it's time for you to design and customize and configure that solution to suit the company need. And this is where the product backlog comes in. So that is just trying to lay foundation for us to understand what product backlog is all about. So it's part of the solution design. So what is this product backlog? If we are customizing before we hand over to the developers to start implementing what we design, we have to start by writing user stories, writing acceptance criteria. So a bunch of user stories, acceptance criteria, other tags, bug fixes is what we call product backlog. So it's a kind of a document where we list all the technical requirements for that solution. So let's look at it and see the definition we've got here. A product backlog is a prioritized list of all the work items, epic, feature, user stories, bug fixes, tags, and enhancements that need to be addressed in a product or a project. It is a fundamental concept in agile project management, commonly used in framework like Scrum. Here we are towing this part because we are going to use Scrum. Today, in software development, anything about software configuration development, we use Scrum Agile framework. So that's what we use. So you can see that a product backlog comprises epics, features, user stories, bug fixes, and tags. So it's a list of all these work items. What is the product? I want us to understand product because we're talking about product backlog. Some of us might still be confused about products. Some might think that product is like maybe a biscuit, a clothing, a shoe, or in this context, when we talk about products, we are talking about a software. We are talking about a solution. We are talking about enterprise application. This is what we call product. A website is a product. Anything that add value, a value-adding system is what we call a product. Some of you might not understand that what you are looking at, this screen I'm sharing, is a product of Google. And the name of this product is Google Doc. It's a product. So I want to use this as an illustration so that we can understand it better. There's no need of telling you stories while you have a product here. You are looking at a product. So this is a product of Google. This is product. Okay, let's look at all the Google products in a short while. I will open this. This is Google Chrome Web Store. And let's click here. Then we'll look at and see all the Google products. You see here, this is Google Search Engine. It's a product. All of us use search engine. This is Google Business Profile Manager. This is Google Map. This is YouTube. This is Google AI, Gemini. This is Google News. This is Gmail. All of us use it. This is Google Meet. We are using it at the moment. This is Google Chat. This is Contact. This is Google Drive. We use it every day. This is Google Calendar. This is Google Play Store, Translate, Shopping, and so many of them. And we'll have Google Finance, we'll have Google Doc. So Google Doc is the one we are using that for our notes. Our notes is captured in Google Doc. And this is Google Sheets, Slide, Book, Blog, all these, all of them are Google products. They are all called products. They are products of Google. So going back, so now we should be able to understand what product is. And then what is backlog? Backlog is a composition of epic features, user stories, bugs, bug fixes, and tags. So it's a list of activities, list of tasks, requirements that need to be done. It's a work item, list of work items. That is, so if you want to use this Google Doc, let's look at the various epics, various features, and user stories within this Google Doc. Okay. If you look at this, this is a file. We call it epic. This is edit. We call it epic. And this is view, insert, format. They are all epic. This is tool. This is help. They are all epic. We call it epic because this is a very large chunk of requirements or chunk of software. If we want to create any of this work, it's going to take us like even 6 months to create this particular help in this product. If we want to add this particular feature you see here, is a large amount of work to be done. So looking at this file, if we want to create this file, it's going to take like 6 months to create this file. Why? If you click on it, you can see onto this file, you see various features. You see a lot of features under the file alone. So it's not going to be easy to create this file. And all this we see under this feature is what we call features. Under this epic called file is what we call features. I'm saying this from the point of view of software development or a business analyst or a software engineer. So this is the way we speak. So this is a feature. And under this feature, please put yourself.
After 30 minutes. Who is this person?
Okay. Like in this file is epic, and this new is called a feature. And this feature is broken down into 2 user stories. This is a user story, and this is another user story. And we'll come to this share. This is a feature broken down into 2 user stories. This is email. This email is broken down into 3 user stories. So you see the way we're breaking them down. So what it means that epic is a bigger chunk of work, and feature is big, but is smaller than epic, and user story is the smallest. So user story is the amount, you break it down the way it can be consumed at a go. So looking at this, just the way we consume food is the way developers consume this requirement. It's going to be difficult for developer to work on this epic. So instead of working on this epic, they break it down into features and user story. It's just like you, after cooking a food, you need to dish the food in a smaller plate that you can consume at a go. You know, some of the food items will need to be put in a bowl, you put in the fridge, but you can't consume them. So it's just making sure that the user story are the smallest, that we make sure that this is the smallest work a developer can consume, and that smallest part of work can create value. So this is the way we break it down. So let me give you another illustration before we start diving into the whole notes, so you understand how this works. You know, it said seeing is believing. So this is a product backlog. And this is what I will want you people to create for me. So as a business analyst, before we finish here, everybody must have created this particular product backlog. It's necessary if you are going to call yourself a BA. You must have a product backlog you've created for yourself. So this is Dynamics 365 CRM product backlog. So Dynamics 365 CRM is a product, and this is the backlog. What is the backlog here? You see under Epic here, we see the epics down here. Under the features now, we see the features, and we see user stories, and we see acceptance criteria. We can equally capture other tasks and bug fixes, although we didn't capture them here. So looking at this sales management, if you look at sales management, you see that sales management goes all the way from here, sales management, down to here. So this sales management is broken down into contact and lead management and customer management, marketing, LinkedIn integration, sales, order management, proposal management, product information management, competitor management, Microsoft integration, and business process management. You see the way this Epic is broken down into various features. Now, looking at this feature, now we have various features here. This feature, contact and lead management, is broken down into how many user stories? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now contact and lead management is broken down into 7 user stories. Then user stories, every user story must have at least 1 acceptance criteria. I said at least. It can be more than 1, it can be up to 2, can be up to 3, can be up to 4, can be up to 5. So that is how we keep on breaking them down. So this is how a product backlog looks like. Acceptance criteria is a measure, a benchmark to measure this user story, the acceptability of a user story. A user story must reach an acceptance level after implementation before a business analyst can accept them from the developers or the programmers. So, and then here, all this user story, while working on the user story, you need to state whether the user story here, the issue, whether it's a user story or a task. A task, some other work can be performed while implementing a solution. User story is a small piece of software, but there is other work that can be done that is not a piece of software, but they contribute towards producing that smaller software called user story. User story is what a software does from the point of view of a user. How a user is going to use a simple software in a product. That's what we call it, user story. We tell a story how the user is going to use that simple or that tiny software. So, and then during the work, every user story must be given a story point. Story point is to tell the complexity of that user story. How complex or how difficult is it going to be to create this user story? This will determine the amount of time we are going to give the developers while implementing or coding that particular user story. It's not the business analyst actually that add these story points, but during the meeting with the developers, the business analysts need to ask the developers questions to understand the complexity. How much is it going to take them to do this? So a story point can be given, it depends on the team. It can be 1 to 100, 1 to 10, 1 to 50, depending on, but you must give it. 1 being the least difficult, and for instance, in this case, I use 10 as the highest story point. You see here is from 1 to 10, and 1 being the least difficult, and 10 being the most difficult. So it means that the user stories, every user story comes with its own difficult from the developer's point of view. So looking at this particular story, I want to be able to create a new lead. Trying to, configure or customize that, the developer can say it's going to take me 10 story points. This is to help us understand the amount of work the developers are going to do. That's why we create story points. And this one is 9, meaning that this first one is more complex than the second one. And this one is 7, meaning that this third one is less complex than these 2 first user stories. And then we come to prioritization. Under prioritization, we use what we call must-cow analysis. So we must state a user story based on priority that must be configured. Some of the user stories or features that the product must have depending on the need of stakeholders. Like this lead. I want to create a new lead is a must. Here you see we must state it that is a must because based on the requirement to have is one of the top requirements for this Dynamics 365 from the stakeholder point of view. So here we select from, you see here, must have, good to have, and must not have. So why we need to prioritize it that so when we hand over this document to the developers to start working on, developers, they must start from the most prioritized, like must have. There's no way developers can go and start working on items that have good to have, while we have items that is must have. Why is it important to do that? If we are running short of resources or time, or going down on our budget, we must have captured the most important one. That is the reason. And then we must equally state, must not have some requirement. We need to create a clear boundary. You must not do this at this particular moment. It must not have. So that they know, because some of the features, they might be good, but we don't need it at this time. So some of these, when you are prioritizing your requirement, you need to give some requirement must not have. And this particular backlog, during the time of implementation, we don't implement directly from a document like this. All these items need to go to another software we are going to use called Jira. So when we go to Jira, after this, we need to move all these user stories. We go to Jira and create another product backlog in Jira. So that is what we are going to do in Jira. We go to Jira, create another product backlog. So, and inside that Jira, every product, every item like user story must have a unique identifier, just like FD3C2. This is, so you need to update your own backlog with the Jira ID. And as an experienced business analyst, it's good to create status of every item in the backlog. So looking at this, everybody that seeing this work from the status, we know that this work items has been completed. So if a line manager wants to look at what is going on to understand the progress, they can just request for this document, although this document should be made accessible to them, to everybody. So if you want to make document like this accessible, you don't need to, you don't store this kind of document in your personal drive. So you need to share it to all the team members, so everybody will have access. So as you are updating it, everybody is seeing what is going on. So you can see here, I've updated this. So if it's not started, I can say not started. You see here, they are not started. Though some of these are not, but once we get started, we can see 50% completion. And then as we progress, we can say 70% completion. And as we are progressing, once done, we see 100% done. So that is the way we capture and create a very useful product backlog. And you can see here, I come here and attach another document. There are different documents. This is product backlog, and this is test cases. I have to attach these documents in one sheet. You know, these two work items in one sheet, but then these are two deliverables. So let us not talk about this now, because we are coming to this very soon, not today, to avoid confusion, because people will now start thinking that user story is a test case. So test case is, I just attach it to this. It's not part of this product backlog. So this is product backlog. I just shown you a live product backlog, how it looks like, what I want you to create for me. So, but let's go back to our notes to explain it further. Okay, having really seen what product backlog is, so let's look at key characteristics and aspects of a product backlog. Number one, a product backlog must have a list of requirements. In the product backlog we've just seen, we saw a list of requirements. In that list of requirements, the product backlog serves as a comprehensive list of requirements for the product. These requirements can include features, improvements for existing features, technical tasks, bug fixes, and any other work item that contributes to the product development. So we've seen list of requirements. We've seen that. Then we saw prioritization, where we use must have, must have, should have, and not have. So the items in the product backlog are prioritized by the product owner. So this is where the product owner comes in. Some of you might be wondering, who is the product? This product owner is owned. This product backlog is owned by a product owner. So the product owner manages it and decides what happened in that product backlog. But in so many cases where we don't have a product owner, a business analyst manages it. In so many cases, business analyst does the work of a product owner. But if there is a product owner where there is high specialization, this is the work of a product owner. But even at that, is the business analyst working with the product owners that will be creating the user stories, managing all the work items in the product backlog. So that is what a business analyst does. They do this with product owner. But product owner is more like a higher officer in this case, interfacing with the business leaders and then the technical team. So this is where shuttling the two environments. So, like I said, it's been prioritized by the product owner or a similar role. When I say similar role, we'll talk about BA on their importance and value for the business or the customer. The highest prioritized items are typically at the top of the backlog. The highest prioritized is the item that should be must have. And even those that are must have, you still all the must, when you have like 10 must have, you must make sure that the most important must have must be on top of all the must have. So you keep on prioritizing it, making sure that the work they are doing is the most important. Then product backlog is dynamic and evolving. The product backlog is dynamic document that evolves over time. It changes. Dynamic means changes. It constantly changes. You know, it's not static. All the items can be removed and new items can be added. So a new item can be added, existing item can be removed, and the order of items can change as business need and customer feedback evolve. So meaning that you can delete some of them that are no longer in use. Some of them can be obsolete. You know, you don't keep obsolete requirements. You know, business is evolving while embracing new technology, new changes, a lot of things. So we need to keep on refining it, making sure that all the requirements we have will bring the highest value. to the organization. And some of the items that are on top can tomorrow, we might not delete them or remove them. We can just take them to the bottom. And some of the items at the bottom, we can bring them up. That is what we mean by dynamic and evolving. And then we'll talk about user stories or tags. Typically, items in the product backlogs are expressed as user stories, tags, or other similar units of work. User stories, in particular, are short, simple description of a feature or functionality from an end user point of view or perspective. Estimation. Some product item may be estimated to provide an understanding of the work effort and complexity associated with each of them. We already talked about this complexity. That is what we talk about story points. So this can help with planning and forecasting. Refinement. Product backlog may be required further refinement and detailing as they move closer to being worked on by the development team. So, like I said, this product backlog, before the work starts, there is a series of meetings that need to help between the developers and the BA or the product owner to refine the product backlog. Refinement, the word refinement here is just making sure that everybody is on the same page. Everybody understands what's this requirement. I cannot be seeing the requirement from point of A and then the developers will be seeing it from point of view. This must be harmonized. We continue to have this meeting till everybody is seeing a requirement from point A. And everybody starts seeing the requirement. If I'm seeing green, the developers must see green. You know, you see, during our t-shirt creation, you see a lot of ambiguities. I told you people that what we want is greenish blue. You see some people producing green. You see some people different colors, because there is no, it means some of you do not understand what I said. This is very, very important. It's a big issue in an organization. You don't understand the importance of color for organization. That is what they believe in. A color like greenish blue is a very high respected color. Is community, is peace, is a lot of things. And that is what his company's brand is. So it's peaceful. These are things we need to understand. You don't just, some of these colors means a lot to companies. So, and it's important you understand it. And that's why we have all these color codes. In order to avoid to interpret the greenish, how green is it going to be or how blue is it going to be, we have a color code. I think I gave you people that color code. And any printing press that do not understand color code should close up. Because this is what they should be doing best. Printing press should be, you should be playing around with colors. Not when somebody gives you a color code. Some people just, when they buy equipment, maybe somebody send them printing equipment from overseas, automatically they become a printer, a printing press. No, it's not. I saw a lot of mistakes, but that is what we call refinement. The team should be able to agree, making sure that everybody is seeing that requirement from a unified point of view. Not when the project lead is saying greenish blue, or another person is saying no. That is, I saw it where some people are even, they went to the printer is telling them what they should produce, the color they want. They come back and tell me that this is what the printer wants. What do you mean by that? The printer will then tell you, the business analyst or project manager, a printer does not have anything to do with the company. And what are you talking about? I do not understand that kind of scenario. And you go ahead and pay the person money to tell you what to do in your company. Do you understand the role of a business analyst or the role of a project manager? This is a very high placed role. So these are the things I don't want us, the mistake we should not be making, not even for our own company, but other companies we are going to work on. So that is what we call refinement. So these include breaking down large items into smaller, more manageable tasks and adding more detailed requirements. We must drill it down to the level that everybody understands. So like I said, in our own color, to drill it down, to avoid saying the amount of glue that will be added to the green, when we talk about, we have a color code. Just look for the color code and that will solve the problem. Then transparency. The product backlog should be transparent to all team members. Monitoring a shared understanding of what needs to be accomplished and forecasting collaboration. Like I said, in this product backlog, I said, for instance, if this document is our product backlog, from this share here, you need to add all the team members, all the stakeholders here, they have access to this document. So you don't need to start sending them by email or attaching them. That is analog way of project management. In a modern way of project management, everybody should have access to this document. If it's this our document, this our listing, our product backlog, everybody should have access. And even in platform such as this, so this is one of our projects. Looking at this, everybody here should have access. You should add everybody. Like if you go to Feed Camp, you see I've added everybody. And in that Feed Camp, okay, look at Feed Camp here. And okay, this is Abuja. So now you see different categories of users here. All of them. Now these are the admin. These are users. Users means the project team members. All of you are here. Then you see how everybody's here. Okay, but they have some people. You come over here, you see some, you add them as, they are going to be have access to what is going on, but they might not be contributing. They cannot remove, they cannot add, but they will have access. You see them read only. So you have to add various level of users here, and every document here, everybody should have access to this documentation. Then you have guests. You can add the users here as guests. They'll be seeing what you are doing. They are as guests. Just they can be just after this. They perform some tasks here. They go. And then we'll have pro use. So these are various ways, different users. And these are the way you are going to be adding your stakeholders. So you might give stakeholders guest access in this project environment. So they have access to all they see everything you guys are doing. And this will give them confidence. They'll be happy that you guys are doing some job. Because some people, they feel frustrated if they don't know what is going on in their project. Everybody does that. When you are paying a huge amount of money and you have no clue of what the boys are doing. So that is it. These are different level of access you can give to your members, or team members, or stakeholders. So I can see we've finished with Abuja, Rivers, Lagos, Maine, and others. So I don't want to go into this now. So then we'll come down to, we'll talk about transparency. The product should be transparent to all members, promoting shared understanding of what needs to be accomplished. I've seen a team where the business analysts do not want to share their product backlog with the project managers and the project coordinators, and that is crazy. I didn't know. It depends on where they learn their project management and business analysis. As a matter of fact, I think the project manager is the leader of that project. He says everything that does. Everything is in charge. So why should you, as business analyst, should deny a project manager access in a project he's leading? So that is it. So even the project manager, you do not own any document. It belongs to the team. So they should have access to key documents. So even in this one we are doing, I see some trying to hold. I keep on telling team lead, everybody should have access. If they ask question, it's not your personal property. It's project. It belongs to the team. That is what we call transparency. If there is money expenditure, there should be accountability. Everything should be transparent. If you are not getting it, the one we've done already, if you didn't get it, I see it as a learning curve. You should learn to be highly transparent. If you are working in a project, it doesn't matter if you are a project manager, it doesn't matter if you're a business analyst, it doesn't matter if you're a developer, which angle in a project, you must be transparent. Then sprint planning. In Scrum, during sprint planning, a subset of items from the product backlog is selected to be part of the upcoming sprint. These selected items become the sprint backlog and are the focus of the team working during the that sprint. We've discussed about during the project, agile project management. We talk so much about sprints, and I believe all of you by now should understand what sprint is all about. So sprint is a duration. The team need to develop some user stories that need to be added into the product. So these are, we have 8 of them, 8 characteristics of a product backlog. What's every good product backlog, the way it should look like, or what it should have. So now we've tried to understand this product backlog. So let's focus on this smaller unit of work that is being contained within the product backlog. Some of these are epics, features, user stories, acceptance criteria. So under epic, like I said earlier, epic is a large body of work that can be broken down into smaller tasks or stories. Epics are typically too big to be completed in a single iteration or sprint and need to be decomposed into smaller, more manageable pieces. Epics provide a high-level view of what needs to be done and serve as a placeholder for future planning and analysis. So, for me, it's self-explanatory. Having been speaking about epics, large chunk of work. If you don't know any, just see it as a large chunk of work. Then we have features. Features are chunk of functionalities that provide a valuable outcome to the end user. They are generally larger than the user stories, but smaller than epic. So they are in between user stories and epic. Features are described in a more detail than epic and often represent a high-level requirement or capability that the software needs to have. So it's more refined. At this point, we have started breaking them. We start breaking epic down to features. It start getting more meaning. We start getting more refined. And as we keep breaking them down, it keep on getting more value and more understanding. So we break them down further into user stories. So user stories are short, simple description of a feature told from the perspective of an end user or a customer. They follow a specific format. So if you want to write a user story, there is a conventional format of writing a user story, and is highlighted here. As a user, you need to say the type of user. As a type of user, I want to state the action so that you state the benefit. So an action needs to be performed in order to generate a benefit using that little software. That is a user story. Like all of us here, we keep sending, using our WhatsApp, sending pictures, sending videos, and this and that. In that WhatsApp, you see where you attach a picture. That area you attach picture, that you see a pin, it is a user story. You use that pin to attach the picture. So as a WhatsApp user, I want to attach a picture in my chat so that I can send it to my mom or my friend or my wife or my... So this is it. You see the way you spoke about that particular... So that is a user, the way a user story is being written. So user story helps team understand what needs to be developed from the user point of view. The developer needs to understand the benefits, what that particular small piece of software, what they are going to do. It must be simple, it must be descriptive, and they must understand it in a very plain language. So, and encourage conversation and collaboration between developers, stakeholders, and product owners. So, looking at this example here of a user story, as a user, I want to be able to log into the system with my email and password. A system, every system these days need email and password. So I can access my personalized dashboard. So if you are trying as a user, let's say as a digital technology business school student, you want to log into the system. You want to log into your course portal. You want to log into the course portal with your email and password so that you can access your personalized dashboard. So that is the user story here. So the acceptance criteria should be that having put your user story, having put your email and the password, you should be granted access to your personalized dashboard. And that is why so many of you, once you put your email and password and it's not giving you access to your personalized dashboard, you start crying, Mr. Charles, come. So this is it in a very simple language. And now another user story is that having logged in my course portal, I should be able to access my bootcamp course. So when you want to access your bootcamp course and you can't, then you start crying again. So these are various users. All these activities are user stories, the way user uses that particular software called product to achieve a benefit. So if they are not achieving that benefit, they are not going to be satisfied. So we are looking at customer satisfaction. But most of you are not satisfied at this point because you cannot access your course. And that is where once there is a situation like this, the technical team comes in. We call it bug. So you see, bug fixes is part of work within fixing bugs has been there. So that's why I say so many of you, calm down. We BAs, team, project managers, the fixing bug is part of, IT environment. So let's look at the acceptance criteria here. Acceptance criteria are specific conditions or requirements that a user story or feature must meet to be considered complete or satisfactory. They are written from the perspective of the user to define the functionality and behavior of the system. So, like I said, behavior. Every user story is expected to behave in a certain way. And the acceptance criteria is that condition monitoring that behavior. Once a user story cannot behave according to a specified condition, then that user story is failed from the point of view of a business analyst. So acceptance criteria help ensure that development team and stakeholders have a shared understanding of what needs to be delivered. Example, given that I am on the login page, if you want to log in here, you'll be on the login page. That is a precondition. When I enter valid email and password, then I should be redirected to my personalized dashboard. That is the condition. You must enter valid email and password. Some of us, it might be our fault because now when I'm doing my onboarding some of you causes some problem. The requirement is that you give us one email address. Some of you gave us 4 email. You see one 1 email appearing 4 times. And I gave a specific condition. One, you must register once. Some are registering 4 times, 5 times. For what? Some of you will not give us complete email. I see so many of you will write at Yahoo or at Gmail. At Gmail what? Do you know that we have at gmail.co.uk? Do you know we have at gmail.com? Do you know that we have at gmail.us? Do you know we have at gmail.ng? So these are some of the things you need to understand. That ending is very important. And some of you will just at gmail.what? And you come and say, Charles, so that's the way they will go and log in. And they will not put the complete requirement and they'll start shouting. So here you say enter valid email and password, and that is it. So summary here is that Epic represents large body of work. Feature are more refined chunk of work, refined chunk of functionality. The user story describes functionality from the user's point of view or perspective, and acceptance criteria defines the condition of satisfaction for a user story or feature. So that is all we have about user stories and acceptance criteria. And here is an example of how a backlog should look like. Like I've shown you people live backlog. So that live backlog we've shown have dwarfed this particular one here. This is the epic, this is the feature, this is user stories, and this is the acceptance criteria. And from here, you can see epic. Under epic, epic is sales. It can be so many. So under epic, this, then epic are broken down into lead management and others. And then user story can be created from the feature. So you can break this lead management down into various user stories within lead management. And every user story here, we've got acceptance criteria, a minimum of 1. It can be up to 3 or 4 acceptance criteria. And this is how it is. So that is all we have about product backlog. I think this our course is very elaborate to let everybody, no matter your level of understanding, you should be able, because I use a lot of live scenario here, you should be able to grasp it. So next time, we're going to be looking at use case and use case diagram. We'll talk about test scenarios and we'll talk about sprint. So we'll still have like 3 classes or 4 classes before we can finish this. but it's important we capture everything so that after here, you won't have anything to bother again as a business analyst, because we're capturing it. Everything you should know as a business analyst, we have to capture them. So thank you for being here tonight. So if you, all these live documents, don't worry, we are going to have access. We are going to start your project very soon. So these are going to be part of the template you are going to be using. So over time, you start doing this, and some of the complexities, you see that once you start doing it, the complexities will start disappearing. So you get your question ready, and I'll handle them now. Okay. Okay, the first person we are going to talk to is Chiamaka Goodness. Please, can you come up with your question?
Hi, sir. Good evening. First of all, thank you very much for tonight's session. My question is not really related to today's class, but it's I don't know if maybe I heard you wrong or misinterpreted it, but I think you did mention you've completed onboarding to Freight Camp in Abuja group and some other groups. I'm in the Abuja group, and I've been checking my emails and junk mails every day, and I didn't get any invite link.
So what stops you from responding to the team that you didn't receive? Because I saw people who are not getting it. Immediately we posted that it's 100% completed. They have to, you know, get back to me through the platform that they were not captured, because you can see when I was talking about requirements like acceptance criteria, I say that valid requirements, like when you talk about email, some of you are the cause of your problems. You know, when I say the cause of your problems, you see some people, they submitted within their group alone, they submitted more than one application. Such people, you go to another group, you see the application again. They apply in, so I've seen someone apply in Abuja, apply in Imo, not only one person, so many other people. And even some people in Abuja, they will see their 3 or 4. What is that? And you see some, they will write at gmail.what. So you belong to this group. And if you have given me at Gmail, how do you want me to know? Is it at gmail.com or is it at gmail.co.uk? You don't know that Gmail have different extension. So these are the things we are seeing, but you shouldn't even wait till we come to class before you start. This is not supposed to be a class question. You have an issue, and this issue, you have a platform. What are you sleeping? You should have responded immediately, and we know you have an issue. We capture it. I see so many of you that have issues. Immediately they responded. I got on it and I responded it immediately. So many of you. So,
yeah, that's a huge fault on my part. I'm sorry about that.
So we are going to address such issues. Like I said, I know that so many of you have issues because and such issues, so many of you caused it for yourself. So if you are having issue, so many of you do not follow. If you are part of a group, so many of you do not know how to follow a group, like WhatsApp group. You will not check what is going on in the group like 2 days. All of a sudden, you remember you are a part of a group and you come and start asking irrelevant questions. To follow a group, you know, WhatsApp is a very powerful product. If you are coming into a WhatsApp, you have to start reading from the last time you visited. It's important to know what you have missed. It's nobody's fault that you did not follow for 1 week and you come in and you want to know everything that is happening. It's not gonna work because we are not waiting for you. We are moving forward. To be honest with you, by the time we finish this project, some people will still come and tell me, Charles, I can't see myself while the project is already over. So it's important, you know, because what we are doing here, we are learning to become a leader. So if you are this kind of leader, do not pay attention to details, then how are you going to lead? IT is all about information. A dot is very, very important in IT. When I say a dot, a full stop is important. Where you are supposed to put a full stop in a code or comma and you don't put it, is going to hold everything to ransom. It's very, very important. So go to your team and let us know that you have a problem from your team and it will be handled from there, not from here. There's no way I can capture it from here. There's nothing I can do from here. So you have to know, report your issues where that issue can be treated, not here. If you are reporting it here, what do you want me to do? Okay. If you have any other question, we still have time to capture other questions, even if it's related to the kind of question she's having. You can still bring it on. Okay. Yeah. L and Z. So.
Hello.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw, good evening, sir, and good evening all. My own is basically a comment, not actually a question. I don't know. I checked the last lecture that we had. You know, I couldn't see it on the platform, you know, just to read up. And then I don't know if it is something that is uploaded. And if the one we also have, this we are having now will also be uploaded as soon. Just a comment.
If you join us when we are starting this issue, I've said that some of these things we didn't do are going to be uploaded. Okay. Some of you already have access to the platform. I see that some people that don't have access is going to address all the issues, because I see challenges everybody is having. So that has been addressed. So
okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So all the courses that have not been uploaded, if you're having issues, you cannot access your course portal, you can watch it from YouTube. That YouTube is still our channel. It belongs to us. We can decide to make all the videos there unavailable, that you cannot see it from outside. But I made it public because I know that so many of you are watching from there. So you stay part of our channel. So it mustn't be on the course portal. The course portal is good because the course portal will help you to be ticking your courses as you are going, ticking, and as you are ticking it, that is how your certificate is getting matured. Because from YouTube, you cannot get a certificate, but from the course portal, by the time you completed all the requirements and you assess everything, then your certificate will be matured. And again, from course portal, when we give quiz, you can't give quiz from the YouTube. So there are so many things you can do from course portal, and you can do from YouTube. And because this is I made this is free, so that's why it's open in YouTube. Like some of the premium content, I can still upload them in YouTube, but if you don't have access, if I don't give you access, you are not going to see them in YouTube. All of you know how YouTube works anyway. So that is it. So any other questions? Yeah, our priority is for you guys to start the project. So if the course portal is having glitches, we can still follow up from YouTube, but it's going to be sorted out as soon as we can. So if we don't have any questions, so for the group that were not onboarded at the moment, the project environment, give us time. We're going to onboard everybody. Is being slowly because the Freed camp is not. I'm not the owner of Freed camp. So, and when you want to upload a large enrollment a bulk enrollment, the system will kick against it and start saying you are acting like a AI or robot. So which a lot of softwares or product now, they don't want that kind of activity in their system. So we are doing it gradually because of the system. And we have our own project management suite, but why we are trying to use a universal project management suite is that I want you to have a variety, have a wider experience, because after finishing from us, you might not use our kind of project management suite. So that's why we're looking at a project management suite that is more universal, so that it will aid you whichever way or whichever platform you are working on. You are not going to struggle, although the one we have is top-notch as well. Okay. That is the end of tonight's class, and I wish you all the best. And if you have any issue, go to our platform and report such issues. It will be handled from there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Charles. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
Mr.
very much,
Charles.
Mr. Charles.
And good night.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Charles.
Thank you.
You too consider.
Thank you.
Thank you.